Phase Hero episode 24. We're already on 24 episodes. That's crazy. Welcome to the show. BD today by Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody.
We got Jamie Jirac.
Good morning.
And we got Aaron Perrine.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? Did y'all watch anything this morning? Anything to see this morning? Anything happen? Open up Twitter, open up Facebook, whatever you watch, YouTube. Daredevil Born Again trailers. What's up this morning? Good morning, everybody. We're going to talk about Daredevil Born Again. If you want to talk about Skeleton Crew, we already did. It's on the podcast platform. It's on the YouTube channel. Go watch the Skeleton Crew review. And if you haven't watched Skeleton Crew, give it a shot. Listen, I think a lot of people are going to see the positive word of mouth on Skeleton Crew. And then after you watch it, you'll not only have been treated to a delightful Star Wars show, you can listen to another episode of our podcast because it's loaded with spoilers. And if you haven't watched it, I don't advise listening to it until you do. But anyway, Daredevil Born Again today. Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. The Russo Brothers are yapping their yaps, and we love when that happens. The Vision series is shaping up nicely. I have a theory on some of that news. Captain America's runtime, DC side of the world. Jason Momoa news. I'm not going to give it all away here. You already know. We just haven't had a chance to talk about it. Supergirl. And quite the take about why The Flash did not succeed at the box office. We'll talk about some of the movies that are in theaters this week. And then Jamie has a Golden Globes rant for you all. This is going to be one for the ages. So buckle up. We're going to start with Daredevil Born Again. Trailer dropped this morning. I shared my thoughts on this in a video that I posted on my channel because I couldn't wait 4 hours to talk about it. Jenna, what'd you think of the trailer?
I really dug this trailer. I'm a sucker for lines that have some sort of like fun double entendre in this sort of way. And so the first lines of the trailer being like, it's nice to see you again and all of that. And then like when Matt is talking to Frank and like bury the hatchet, like I'm a sucker for that. Even the tagline of the show just feels very clever given the way that this is being revived. So I think the marketing is really nailing it. Having seen the trailer that they screened at D23, I feel like this is a good mix of like footage that was already in that and stuff that was even like new to me. And we don't really have any inkling of like what the plot of the show is. It really feels like it's just vibes and just the characters that we know and love, which I think is enough to sell the show, especially when we're 50 something days out. Like this is the way to sell it.
Jamie, what do you think?
I think it looks rad. Like it's a good trailer. I do have to say though, I'm not changing my hype ranking. It's still in my bottom 3. And I think a big part of that honestly has to do with the way the election went, where it's like, oh, Kingpin's mayor, what a great escape from my reality. Not like I think truly part of it's like, oh, Kingpin's mayor just is really just is a lot to take. So, but I do think that it looks rad, and it definitely seems to have the same kind of dark vibe as the Netflix show.
Aaron, what'd you think?
The self-fulfilling prophecy continues to self-fulfill. The people are really excited about this. All of the things that you think would market a Daredevil show are here in spades. I've never seen so many people cheer a compound fracture on social media in my life. It's going to be a good time, though. Like just having these characters back in the fold is going to be such an invigorating thing for so many people. Also, for those of you who've never seen John Bernthal with a full beard, welcome. There's
You've clearly never watched the South Carolina game surrounded by Clemson people. But I said it. We're the classier school of South Carolina. I said it, but I love this trailer. I do wish there was a little bit more story to it. I like what Jenna said about the meta references. I also felt like there was a meta reference right there at the beginning where Matt says, or Wilson says to Matt, "You've come up in the world." I'm sure, obviously, that's about his law firm and his just role as an attorney in New York City. But it's also kind of about them both, where we get to play with the Avengers now. We're on Disney Plus. Not that Netflix was anything bad, but they were the sort of offshoot of Marvel at the time. And we all, I think a ton of us watched it. It didn't hurt the quality or the viewership of the show, but it still was like, you don't get to play with us type of vibe with the Avengers and with Marvel Studios. And now they do. Now they've come up in the world and Matt Murdock has played with the Avengers. Well, not really. She's not technically an Avenger, but I think this is cool. I think this is a cool trailer. It sets the tone. And yeah, is there anything specifically we want to talk about?
I also have to say, I heard our friend Adam Barnhart like screaming from multiple states over there.
Yeah, well, I was wondering what that was. I thought that was a rooster, right? At
Yeah,
9
no,
a.m.
that was Adam, who, if you know Adam, he is instrumental in the Save Daredevil movement, and he is absolutely elated this morning. I also I was talking with him and some other friends about how I'm so excited to see how this type of story and these characters function in a more weekly show. Like, as good as the Netflix shows were, I feel like the binge model was both a blessing and a curse of like, I can't remember really a lot of specific episodes across the Defenders verse that I really stood out to me. I just remember scenes and moments because it all just felt like this massive blob that I had to binge. And so getting this weekly, probably with like a 2-episode premiere or something, I feel like it's going to play really differently, and that'll be really cool.
Yeah, I just remember the fight scenes because binging it sucked. I'm a weekly release boy right here. White Tiger. We got some looks at the villains. We got White Tiger on the screen right now. I find White Tiger to be interesting for this because obviously White Tiger has some abilities and powers that come from the Tiger God in a world that's going to be extremely grounded. I'm curious to see what the take is on this. Is this going to be like a Penguin thing where they really ground these characters? They don't go over the top with them, or is this going to, it's not like White Tiger is this crazy superhero, but I'm curious to see how that fits into the Daredevil Born Again world.
It's also a legacy mantle. Like there's a younger female White Tiger who I know people had theorized like she was probably going to be the version who's in the show. So, and I think if I remember correctly, that the actor who played this version of White Tiger has since passed away. And so there's probably not going to be a lot that they're going to be able to do with his character in the long term. But like you said, like introducing that mantle and having it straddle the line between being grounded and not grounded is definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm personally I think White Tiger is going to be sort of like a menacing, not henchman, but like, powerful supporting player of somebody who's a thorn in the side of the story. Whereas Muse, I think, is probably going to be the main villain. And Muse's comic story is crazy. If you're not familiar with Muse like uses blood of missing people and does paintings and kills Inhumans and sets them up to look like, doesn't look like art, but Muse calls it art. I'm trying to find a picture of Muse here from the trailer. Jen, any insights on Muse you want to?
You encapsulated as much as I would probably do. Like you said, it's a character that is definitely dark. Like this is one of the darker villains I feel like we've ever had on Disney Plus if they lean into that specific type of the storyline. But again, like you said, the sandbox is bigger. This is like a new era for the show. So like that's a really cool way to go about it.
Yeah, it's also like one of those villains that wants to be caught, like type vibes, because Muse is always leaving a trail. Like here's the address, go find this bloody painting. Here's the next address, go find these Qubat. Like it's like a weird exhibitionist criminal, and I think it's going to be dark. I think Muse is going to be dark, and I'm curious to see how that all factors into the show. So before we move on from Daredevil Born Again, everybody leave your thoughts in the comment section. Jamie, Aaron, anything you guys wanted to say about Daredevil Born Again?
Can't. Go ahead, Jay.
Oh, I was just say it was nice to see Karen and Foggy. That's cool.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all I had to say. No, it was nice. Nice stuff.
I was going to say that in before whoever the actor who plays Muse is yells at poor Charlie Cox, this is not how it was supposed to go. No. You're probably going to have that again.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to C Black. Thank you for the super chat. Thoughts on PW listing Elizabeth Olsen in the cast Children's Crusade? Is this a Vision thing?
No, it was for Production Weekly because then they have a second super chat that says Production Weekly Doomsday cast.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that in 1 second. Actually,
yeah.
Let's get to that in 1 second. Thank you for the second super chat, C Black. Thank you everybody for the super chats. Who does that during these shows? It's super helpful to keep us keeping on. We really appreciate it. Avengers Doomsday. No initials next to this one. I'll read it. Russo Brothers started yapping to Empire Magazine. Everybody knows I'm a big fan of the Russos. 4 in the MCU, and I'll always tout that fact about them. Anthony said, Endgame was the end. End quote. Add my line here. Until it wasn't. The quote goes on, it took a little time for us to begin to think about it as something other than an end. We ended up stumbling upon an idea that activated all of us. You couldn't see it coming until it came. And once it came, it was like, well, that's a story we need to tell. Joe Russo then added to that. I remember Steve McFeely I remember calling Steve McFeely and said, "Hey, crazy idea. What do you think if we all go back and do Secret Wars?" He told me, "Fuck no, absolutely not," and hung up. But the next morning he called at 7:30 and said, "All right, I have an idea. Mr. Krabs, I have an idea." Then Anthony said, "It's the kind of story that makes you feel like a kid again. There's so much creative potential here." And a piece of news that came out of this is that Christopher Marcus, who co-wrote Thor: The Dark World, Captain America: Winter Soldier, Captain America: Civil War, Avengers: Infinity War, and Avengers: Endgame with Stephen McFeely, is not co-writing Doomsday and Secret Wars. It's just McFeely there. Hard to say if that matters. I don't know what their working relationship is like. I'm sure Chris Marcus is not totally hands-off on this. He's just very busy running parts of Agbo, which is a big operation, and they're doing a lot over there. But yeah, so what do we make of this, guys? I have my thoughts on it, but does anybody want to talk about any takeaways from these quotes?
I will say, I think the Marcus detail was revealed during Comic-Con, because I remember people were like definitely surprised by that it was only one half of the duo writing it. Their enthusiasm, and especially in these quotes, like really sells it for me. Like I totally get approaching this as like, it feels like being a kid playing in this massive sandbox with like every single action figure that is at your disposal. So I know that is a tall order to begin with creatively, but it sounds like they're approaching it in a way that is going to be really fun. So I don't know, that has me optimistic.
Jamie, the number one fan of the Russo Brothers. What do you think?
I like the Russos. I even like the Gray Man. I just think this whole thing is like not exciting. What's actually interesting to me is the Marcus and McFeely of it all. Like, I don't really know what they bring to the table separately. I only know their style together. So it's going to be interesting to watch this movie and be like, oh, that's what Marcus was. Like, was he the jokester? Was he the action guy? I think that it's going to become more clear. And I'm interested in seeing that. I also want to point out that Marcus and McFeely also are the creators of a little TV show called Agent Carter, which I'm currently covering on Lito's Patreon. Plug. Yeah, I do like the idea of that his initial reaction was like, no, absolutely not, because that's how I would have reacted. But I also like it's the mark of like a true creative that it only took a night time to be like, I got some ideas, and then to get excited about it. I think that's really cool. And to see that someone that said no and then instantly got excited, that makes me a little more excited.
Aaron, what do you think of this?
It is interesting that it all seemed to come together. This is the second big Marvel project that everybody has a bunch of hopes pinned to it, that someone had an idea and then they stopped on the side of the road and then they all came together and it'll be successful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird it's happened twice. Two different weird cat deity vigilantes, two movies coming together. A lot of twos today. What's going on, guys? But I am excited. And I also think we're not out of the woods yet, because apparently the script's not done. So there's still time for Christopher Marcus's music to hit and him to make his entrance. And once we get all of the people back in here, because at this point, I feel like
he's here.
He's here. Oh my God. He wasn't supposed to be here today. He's only on Secret Wars. Oh my God. That still feels like it's going to happen.
I mean, I think the Secret War script probably very much still working. I mean, they're probably very, very much at work at both of these, as has been reported. But they had scripts for this and the Downey of it all way before Comic-Con. Like, this was, I can tell you right now, the scripts and there's concept art. There's a lot of stuff about Downey as Doom in this story that existed months before July, when we found out the Russos were coming back and that Downey was coming back, but as Doom. I like this. I like that quote from Anthony, that it's the kind of story that makes you feel like a kid again. To me, make me feel like a kid again, you just got to throw the original X-Men in there with the Avengers, and I hope it works. I really like the idea of everybody coming back one last time. I'm all for it. I don't think it's boring. I love it. I'm very excited for this, and I just think the Russos, say what you will about their projects outside of Marvel, but their Marvel work has been, 4 straight home runs for me. Like many of my favorite MCU films. So I love it. But yeah, that's we don't really have anything other than that, other than, Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be here. Chris Evans is going to be there.
Can we address the Elizabeth Olsen comment, since they did ask about that? Yeah. I will say Production Weekly is hit or miss in terms of reliability. Like, there are certain specifics that they are absolutely like on the money on. And then there are certain times where like they will list projects that are in production that like aren't even remotely a reality yet. So I feel like this might be an instance like that, where it like anything could potentially be updated, but also at the same time, Kevin Feige talked about her being back. It feels like anyone is on the table to come back, so I wouldn't rule it out.
I think it's inevitable that Elizabeth Olsen is back, and Jamie's going to be eating well at some point.
I mean, and like the whole the mention of Children's Crusade, we've talked about this before, right? Like it seems very likely that they are going to lead somewhere. And is it in Doomsday? If so, hopefully the romantic element isn't there. I said it before. I do not want that. It'd be weird with Elizabeth Olsen and RDJ. Just like that's just weird. But she's showing up in these Avengers movies. There's just no way. She's a moneymaker, baby. And Elizabeth Olsen's gotten to, she got to make a bunch of her indie darlings. She's gotten her little break, and I think that she's gonna be ready to say, "Put me back in the red suit."
I want to give a shout out to Scott for the super sticker. Scott, $49.99, man. Thank you so much for that. Our friend Scott, you've been one of the biggest supporters of Phase Hero from the jump, and it means a lot. So thank you so much, Scott. You're a legend for that. Everybody who throws a single penny at us, you just threw 4,999 pennies at us, and we appreciate that. I feel like Jod in that skeleton crew. All right, Jamie, let's keep it moving here.
Ooh, we got some Vision updates. Very interesting for On to hear who played Raza in Iron Man back in 2008. The leader of the 10 Rings, back when they were just like throwing things out. Like, let's use the name 10 Rings in Iron Man. Interesting. We're getting some people back. Like Tim Blake Nelson, but like those are like kind of bigger names. So this leads me to believe that they're bringing him back for like something juicy here. I cannot even begin to guess what that is. Do any of you have theories?
He's also like canonically dead, if I remember correctly. So like this isn't, I mean, like granted, as I've said on this show with other character deaths, like that's kind of meaningless. Like you can always bring a character back, and especially somebody like this who we haven't even necessarily thought about since we watched Iron Man. But yeah, I don't have a specific theory. It's just kind of like a very interesting direction to take it. It makes me curious of like, is he in an episode? Is he like a supporting player? Is he just in a scene? Like, who knows?
I have a theory.
Oh,
I got this from somebody on Twitter who sparked the thought, and then I went down the thought rabbit hole in my own tinfoil hat of a head that I constantly attach to these shoulders. And I think that there's a chance that White Vision explores his history. And White Vision's history is as Jarvis, and Jarvis is constantly by Tony's side. And Jarvis's memories could be why James Spader is returning as Ultron, could be why we're going back to the caves from the first Iron Man. Anything that has to do with Iron Man, Tony Stark, his memories, the Jarvis of it all. I think that there's, a possibility we see a lot of different players that helped shape Tony Stark and Jarvis's personalities over the years. And I think that could be an interesting thing that we end up seeing happen.
I like that.
Jeff Bridges? Where are you at?
Well, I was about to say Gwyneth Paltrow and Jeff Bridges, but I mean, those would be some expensive memory lane appearances.
Gwyneth would also just be like, what is a vision quest? Like, I don't know that kind of vision quest. She would be very confused.
She's on the Disney lot, like, why am I here? Where am I?
All right, Aaron, hit us with the next one.
Okay, so we got Captain America: Brave New World news here as it rapidly approaches. Are we under a month now?
Yeah.
To Brave New World?
Officially.
Yeah. So we got a runtime of an hour and 58 minutes for Captain America: Brave New World as we keep getting trailers in different spots and stuff, and Harrison Ford rehearsing his lies to tell Jamie. This means it's one of the shorter MCU movies, the shortest Captain America movie overall, which I feel like is like also silly because one of the Captain America movies is an Avengers movie, and then the other two are much earlier in the MCU. So what do we think about the runtiming at hour and 58 minutes for Captain America: Brave New World?
It is wild to be less than a month out. Like, if we hadn't gotten the Daredevil trailer, I fully expected to get some sort of Cap trailer or teaser or something announcing, like, tickets are on sale. We're a month out from the release. Let's go. And so, like, it's interesting that we don't have that yet. With the runtime, I'm torn because I feel like the movie needs to be as long as it needs to be. And if it happens to be under 2 hours and that's what they creatively decided makes the most sense, then, like, I'm all for it. Lord knows they can get more showings out of a day if the movie is even shorter and less than 2 hours. But at the same time, like, we know all of the reshoots that happened. We know all of the different things that they added and took away from this movie, and to still have a movie be less than 2 hours, it's interesting to me. Like, it makes me hope that those reshoots led to them having like really strong creative decisions and not a lot of stuff being left on the cutting room floor that would have made the movie better.
15 minutes of Seth Rollins cut out of the movie.
Yep.
Whoa. Oh man. I saw the
Oh yeah, I don't care about runtime. Like, if a movie could be truly like a movie could be 80 minutes, a movie can be 5 hours. If that's the length it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Sometimes a movie can be 2 hours and feel like it's 8 hours. It's all like, I will judge the runtime when I get out of that theater and see how it affected me and made me feel. Like, it doesn't inspire any feelings. It doesn't make me nervous. It doesn't make me excited. It's like, it's just a number.
Yeah, I think unless a runtime is extreme, like if it's like a 89-minute thing or a 185 minutes, you know, it tells us, oh, this is less than an hour and a half, or this is more than 3 hours. The runtime doesn't really affect me. The pacing and the story are the only thing that matters. And just, I think, you know, as long as you let it tell the story, it is what it is. For comparison, I've pulled up MCU runtimes. Not on this list are anything that came out after April of 2023. What came out last summer? What movie came out? I don't even remember. Deadpool Wolverine was 2024, so that's not on this list.
The Marvels isn't on the list then?
The
So that'd be like
Marvels,
November of 23?
so the Marvels is not on this list. And was there a July or summer 23 or May? There had to be.
Guardians.
Guardians 3, also not on this list, but it definitely is longer. So I'm just going to go through the 10 shortest runtimes on this list. I think the Marvels would probably be somewhere on here. I don't remember, but it's not long. The Incredible Hulk, 1 hour, 52 minutes. Thor: The Dark World, 1 hour, 52 minutes. Doctor Strange, 1 hour, 55. Thor, also 1 hour, 55. Ant-Man, 1 hour, 57. Now you have Cap 4 and Ant-Man and the Wasp, both with 1 hour, 58. Thor 4, Love and Thunder, 159. Then you have Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2 hours and 2 minutes. Then you have Cap 1, 2 hours and 4 minutes. And also Captain Marvel and Iron Man 2 are also 2 hours and 4 minutes. And like, these are all pretty close. This is the normal, like, these are the shorter of Marvel movies. But I mean, that's also a range in quality. I like the Ant-Man movies. I love Guardians 1. Doctor Strange is quite good. I really like Thor 1. Thor: The Dark World, not great. Cap 1, I like it less than most people, but still like it. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a runtime, people. It's a runtime. Hour 58, and we're a month away. I just think the hype for this movie feels even lower than the runtime, given that it's a month away. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah. I don't know what needs to be done.
I'm planning to see The Brutalist later, and that's like 3 hours and 40 minutes. So.
Nah, fuck that. Not a chance. The only reason I'll never watch The Brutalist is because it's 3 hours and 40 minutes. I'll probably never sit down and watch the whole thing. I'll be honest with you.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Watch it in parts.
That's what?
Watch it and it has an intermission. Watch the first half and then go live your life and then come back for the second half. It's a different time.
I can't dedicate it. I would say I have things to do, but I don't have a job. I just don't have. No way.
I am going to make a counterpoint. The Snyder Cut is technically longer.
Yes, it is.
Great.
So if we sat through the Snyder Cut, then
I'll say this: when I pressed,
and some of us sat through the Snyder Cut. Okay,
I sat through the Snyder Cut. There was a few gratuitous minutes that didn't need to be in there, but I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. That said, when I pressed play on Zack Snyder's Justice League, I was like, you know what? I'm probably going to watch this in half. Watch the other half tomorrow morning. And I thought it was so good that I watched the whole thing. I did not expect to sit there for 4 hours, but I did. It was easy to sit there. It was very good. I agree with Jod here in the comment section. Snyder Cut was easy to sit through. Yeah. To see distance there and gets it. These statues don't dust themselves. I have dusting to do. I can't do it. All right, let's switch over to the DC side of the world. Jenna, no one better to kick us off than you.
Yeah, so it finally happened. Jason Momoa is officially cast as Lobo. He announced it himself on social media because he shared a screenshot of an old interview quote he had given of like, I would love to play Lobo. It depends on whether or not I get the call. And so he posted that screenshot and just captioned it like they called, which was great. And then the trade started reporting on it, and they confirmed that he is debuting on screen in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. He has wanted to play this character since before he was even cast as Aquaman, to the point where he auditioned to play Batman, and he was like, I'm not going to get Batman. And then they called him, and they're like, we have a role for you. And he's like, oh, it's totally Lobo. And they're like, no, it's Aquaman. And then that fully surprised him. So like I have a whole video about this on my channel, and just about the history of that, and about the optics, and like where the character could go from there. Putting him in Supergirl is a really interesting choice, but it's something that there is precedent for, because initially the book was pitched as a Supergirl and Lobo book, and then they were like, we're going to take Lobo out of this and just make it a Supergirl story. But I think there is a way to have kind of the episodic nature of all of these different space adventures that happen in the comic. You could easily swap one of those out for Lobo, or have Lobo there, and you have a little bit more of a connection to the DC universe. So I'm excited for it. What do you guys think?
I think that like it makes so much sense, right? Like he's going to be great. He makes so much more sense than Aquaman. I think like it's exciting. He's going to be fantastic, but I do worry about like my mom. Like she's going to be confused about it, especially while on the other side of the street, Marvel is bringing RDJ back as a new character, but in the same universe. I feel like people like my mom are going to think that's what's happening at DC. They're not going to get it. Like it's going to confuse a lot of casual people, and I'm waiting for the moment I have to explain this to my mother, because I think it's inevitable, and like that's not that big of a deal, but like it is. I do think it's gonna confuse the normies.
I think it'll be a little bit of confusion, but I don't think it's going to be enough to damage the success of Jason Momoa as Lobo.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think it's
No,
right.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think people are going to be like, wait, isn't he Aquaman? A lot of people probably don't even realize the Aquaman franchise is done.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people, there's a lot of people, the people who, you know, get their movie news from Good Morning America and not Twitter or Face Hero. Like, what are you doing? You know, they probably don't know. But I mean, it's just, he was playing Lobo, and especially in Aquaman 2, he was basically playing Lobo already. Yeah. So, you know, he's
in the Fast movies, he's practically playing Lobo, just with like a couple different characters. Yeah, and as Jamie just chef kissed, like it's a brilliant performance. So if he has that level of chaotic energy, and with the prosthetics that I know that they can deliver, like it'll look incredible. Like hopefully he's recognizable enough as Jason Momoa, but like unrecognizable enough compared to how he looked as Aquaman, that then it'll be fine.
Yeah, we have a history of being a Marvel group of people who talk about Marvel. For those listeners who might not know Lobo.
Oh boy.
Who's Lobo?
So he was introduced as a one-off villain in a cosmic series that DC had called the Omega Men, and then over time he got kind of like radically reinvented. He became a sort of pastiche and a parody of the ultra 90s, ultra violent kind of machismo sort of character. Like one of the creators specifically said like Wolverine and Punisher and how they were portrayed in the 90s was a huge influence for how Lobo was. And so he is one of the best like alien bounty hunters in the galaxy. He is the last surviving member of an alien planet called Zarnia, and part of it is he's the last surviving member because he massacred every other like citizen on that planet and just was there by himself. And so he is like, Deadpool is not the best example, but it's a very Deadpool-y sort of role of like, he exists on the periphery. He exists as like a supporting character to a lot of things. He now has a daughter in more recent comics who like, she is a great character in and of herself. He rides around with like a space motorcycle and space dolphins and just very much has this sort of biker energy in a cosmic sort of context. So he's a wild character, but he has definitely become a fan favorite since he was introduced.
He's just cool as hell. Smokes cigars, fights Superman. Like, just it's cool stuff. Thank you for that, Jenna. Great job, and thank you, Scott, again, our friend. Scott, stop it! Stop it!
His comment is accurate, though.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt played like 14 characters in the MCU, and that's very real. Jamie, go ahead.
Okay, well, because like half of those characters are Koenigs, right, on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I do have to, Jeffrey in the comments is saying the Koenigs are LMDs. They're not. It's like a joke that they might be, but we learned that they're not. They got good genes. They just keep spreading. But like he voices MODOK. That's not really in the MCU. And then Pip doesn't look like Patton Oswalt. Like, but even still, he's not, Patton Oswalt is a different beast than Jason Momoa. But Patton Oswalt can blend in a way that Jason Momoa can't. But I want to clarify. I don't think there's anything wrong with playing multiple characters in the thing. I'm excited for him to be Lobo. I'm just waiting for the call from my mother, and it's just inevitable.
I also want to say, because people in the chat are like, fan casting. They're just like agreeing with fan casting. And like, is Alan Richardson Batman the next thing? This feels like an isolated incident because like Peter Safran produced the Aquaman movies. Jason has been a friend of James Gunn's for a really long time, to the point where he was almost Drax in the first Guardians movie. So like they have had a long relationship with him, and it has been clear like he has the enthusiasm to play the character. So it's like, why bother going through an audition process? Why bother trying to do that if like you already have the perfect option right in front of you?
And James Gunn, maybe more than a lot of filmmakers I see since, Seth Rogen and his gang stopped making so many comedies together. Like he works with people he likes working with. He has a system, he has his friends, and they're talented. It's not like he's throwing people in movies that aren't good actors. Like, no, I don't think Jason Momoa is some guy who's going to win an Oscar in his career. But I think Jason Momoa is perfect for Lobo. Like, I just do. And I think that they have a good working relationship, obviously, so it's he might even be filming as we speak, and we might get the first look at Lobo soon, because our next piece of news is that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow has officially started filming. They're filming in London at Leavesden. Wonder Woman 1984 has filmed there. Marvel has filmed there. I mean, a lot of different Marvel and DC and just huge projects. Harry Potter has filmed up there. Like, there's a ton of different movies and just massive titles that have filmed up there at Leavesden. And right now it is occupied by Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which is very exciting. I would love it if photos. I mean, I think this means a photo of Supergirl is going to come out.
I really hope we get something official very soon. Like, I could see set photos, paparazzi photos still being a thing, but it seems like James and DC like have enough experience to know how to circumvent that. Like, this isn't going to be a Shazam situation where the first look we get is just an unflattering set photo of the first costume. But I really hope that we get some like big badass official first look at her, because I've already seen people like body shaming Millie on her Instagram of like, she's too skinny to be Supergirl and just all of this nonsense. And I'm like, she needs to be able to like make an impression, have people understand like she is Supergirl, she's going to look awesome. And I feel like there's a way to do that in official context that like just shuts all of that chatter down.
Yeah, you're really trying to speed run the 2000s. Dear God, body shaming actions on Instagram just because
it was so bad. It was really disgusting. Yeah, it made me really sad.
I want to shout out Emerald.
Digressed. Oh no, go ahead. Shout out.
Jamie's mother would hate the Kevin Smith universe. Apparently, Emerald City video.
Yeah, she does, because of how often I was watching those movies in high school. I think I drove her crazy.
Thank you. That's Russ. Thanks, Russ. Daniel Zambrano got here late, but wanted to big up Brandon for not being able to wait to react to the Daredevil trailer and dropping that video. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for watching that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for supporting all four of us here on Face Hero. This is probably our biggest super chat day, maybe since we launched. Definitely not as big as the launch day. That was insane. This is already getting. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. That's very kind of you. It's so big. Apparently, Jamie's internet just cut out, so we're gonna have to reallocate all the super chat funds to Jamie's internet fund to make sure she can stay connected. All right. Well, Jamie's back just in time to. I feel like we do have a Jamie rant coming, but yes. I feel like this is going to be a mini rant.
Oh boy. Okay. Geez. So Andy Muschietti commented about the Flash flopping. And he was on Radio 2's La Bolera de Coso. I hope I said that right. Throwing some big words at me today. And he said, The Flash failed among all the other reasons because it wasn't a movie that appealed to all four quadrants. It failed at that. When you spend $200 million making a movie, Warner Brothers wants to bring even your grandmother to the theaters. I found in private conversations that a lot of people just don't care about the Flash as a character, particularly the two female quadrants. All of that is just the wind going against the film, I've heard. Okay, buddy. First of all, this is hilarious because I'm one of the only people I know who likes this movie, and last I checked, I was a woman. Like most people, like seriously, like I'm one of the few people who actually enjoyed this. So maybe watch yourself, Andy. But also, most people would say no, it flopped because it wasn't good, or maybe because you had a abuser as your lead. I don't know. There are a lot of factors going on here. And listen, it sucks when your movie doesn't do well, especially when people waited so long for it. But like, don't throw us ladies under the bus. Like, come on, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I like that is so silly. Like, I just shut your mouth, man. You've got other things you get to work on. Just shut your mouth.
I need to piggyback off of that, and specifically the women don't care about the Flash comment. The Flash starred on a television show on a network that is predominantly watched by women for almost a decade. So the argument is kind of moot there. I saw someone when this whole discourse started basically saying, like, if Superman and Batman are Coca-Cola, Flash is like Fanta or Sprite, of like you always like can have a hankering for it, but you might not necessarily go to it every single time. People are aware of the Flash. People like the Flash as a character. It's just like Jamie said, all of the mess with Ezra Miller didn't help all of it. I will also argue they did 1 million early fan screenings for this movie, and people then weren't incentivized to go see it a second time. And so that probably ate into the box office a little bit. Like, I understand the frustration of this movie was in the works for a decade. It cost so much to make. It had all of these reshoots, all of this stuff around it. And like, it's still a miracle that it even exists considering how long it was in development. But at the same time, like, they didn't really make it a perfectly 4-quadrant movie. It had a lot going against it beyond just the optics of the Flash as a character.
I just don't see what makes this movie super different from other Marvel and DC movies in terms of the 4-quadrant picture.
Yeah.
Whether it's men or women you're talking about, I don't really know what the biggest difference is. How do you set this apart from whether it's Aquaman or Ant-Man or Captain Marvel, or like, obviously Captain Marvel is going to appeal to more women because it's got a female lead. Sure, I guess you can make that argument, but we have tons of successful Marvel and DC superhero films that are superhero films at the end of the day. So what is the biggest difference? I don't know. You could say people weren't interested in the Flash as a character. You brought Michael Keaton back. You had 2 different Batmans in this movie. You had a Wonder Woman appearance in this movie. You had Man of Steel lore in this movie. And honestly, I liked the movie. I thought the CGI was terrible, offensively bad. Like, offensive that you could charge people $20 for that level of CGI in the year it came out. But it was PS2, not even cutscene, PS2 gameplay level of CGI, which was astonishing that they released. But I thought the movie itself was good. I liked it. I thought it had a good emotional core by the end of it. I think that the DC brand was in the toilet at this point. I think it was so disconnected and disjointed that DC was struggling. And James Gunn tried his best to sell the hell out of this thing because he was DC CEO at this point. You'd already announced a reboot. And yeah, the Ezra Miller controversy of it all and everything that was going on. Like, nothing that Flash had a lot of things stacked against it, but I don't think women in the 4-quadrant picture was the big one. I don't see why it was super different, but this was a weird take. Anyway.
I want to hear what Aaron thinks.
I mean, I just been sitting here laughing at like the different funny things. Also, I'd like to shout out M7 at ATC and Dissident, who were like, there were 3 Batmen in that movie. I'm like, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I completely forgot. Like,
Yeah.
that's absolutely true.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what? Just to show you how like this thing just flew over everybody and just bathed through all of us. If we did not work at a publication that forced us to go watch it at the time, we probably would not have bothered in some ways. You know,
I mean,
I had the right profession.
I felt tricked. I saw it at CinemaCon when it was introduced. They were like, the movie isn't finished. The movie's not done. And I was like, wow, the story actually worked. And I had like, Ezra was good in the movie. Like, I know Ezra is Ezra, but like, Ezra's Barry worked in the movie. Michael Keaton was, awesome to have back. The story of it all worked well enough for me. They did cut the George Clooney cameo at the end from that screening, and that I'm pretty sure was the closest to incomplete from what we saw. I was under the impression, based on saying it's incomplete, that the VFX would be improved. So when I left, I was like, wow, Flash was actually pretty damn good. If I knew those were the final VFX, I would not have been as polite about it.
Remember
I would have been
Tom
polite,
Cruise,
but I wouldn't have been as praised.
Remember when Tom Cruise was like, "It's the best movie ever," and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't believe that. Somebody put $1 million in Tom Cruise's pocket because I don't think he knows anything about this stuff at all.
Did you say that, or was that just a report that he watched it and liked it?
That's right.
There was some kind of report that Tom Cruise loved it, and
Yeah.
that's I just never believed that.
It was a weird report, but then I don't think I ever actually saw Tom Cruise say something about it. I interviewed him like a week after that at the Mission Impossible premiere, and I was gonna say, "Why'd you watch The Flash?" But I only got like 1.5 questions with him, and I knew that if I asked Tom Cruise about the Flash, like the internet would be like, "Bro, you get to talk to Tom Cruise, and this is what you ask him." And I just was afraid of that internet backlash. I was like, I ended up asking him about directing and asking him about stunts and Mission Impossible and all that shit. But if I would have asked him about the Flash, that would have been the most pickup of the whole carpet. But to an extent, I would have been doing my job to the best of my ability. But I would have dealt with so much shit on the internet that I chose not to do it in that moment. And also, I wanted to respect Tom. He was there to promote Mission. He would have been a classy guy and answered it. He's always a class act on the carpets. But I do kind of to this day think like, damn, I should have asked him about that. That would have been a cool moment. Superman is going to drop a new look at the Puppy Bowl. Yeah. So on February 9th, we're going to get our next look at Superman, very crypto inspired. And also, it's going to save money. It's the way to do a Super Bowl trailer without paying for a Super Bowl trailer. The Puppy Bowl is at 2 p.m. Pacific time, I believe it is, on the day of the Super Bowl. It is on Animal Planet and then all these other channels as well. And I assume whatever they release will also be online, of course. But this is your way of doing a Super Bowl trailer without spending $6 gazillion per second for the ad. And February 9th, we'll get our next look. And we have a comment from C Black. BD, F4 trailer during the Super Bowl. I have not a doubt in my mind. February 9th is when we get our first real look at Fantastic Four First Steps, aside from the footage we saw at Comic-Con. There will be a 30-second spot right before kickoff, and it will simultaneously release a 2.5-minute trailer online.
I'm going to need you all to keep the group chat going because I'm not watching the Super Bowl. So I need you all to let me know when those things happen.
We will. I also say I privately had joked as soon as Crypto was confirmed to be in this movie. I was like, they are going to do promotion at the Puppy Bowl for the year that this comes out because Animal Planet is owned by WB Discovery. It's a nice bit of synergy that is very easy for them to do. And we know James loves dogs. I wouldn't be surprised if this movie just starts pushing a dog adoption initiative or something to get all of the kids who love crypto to really go and adopt their own dog. But I don't even really expect this to be a full trailer. I feel like it's just going to be a scene or a teaser, most of which is stuff we've already seen from the first trailer. But just to get the normal, the average viewer, the moms who are watching the Puppy Bowl and who maybe didn't see the trailer in December, this is a way to get them aware of the movie. And immediately, so many little kids are going to be I love crypto. I need to go see this movie immediately. And that's going to do a lot. And
it's going to be crypto focused.
Yes.
We're going to get more crypto than anything else, I bet. Question from Roscoe. When will She-Hulk turn up in Daredevil? I'll tell you what. I would love to see Jen show up. We talked about at the beginning of the show, the Daredevil trailer. Matt has come up in the world. His law firm's probably doing better. Maybe he needs a visit from a West Coast attorney. Maybe he's doing business out there. Maybe somebody's got a case in New York. I don't know.
I cannot wait to be the opposite, all the Daredevil fans watching She-Hulk. I cannot wait every week. Be like, where's Jen this week? Why do we have Jen? Jen is going to be so obnoxious about this.
Yeah, I've started exclusively just tweeting about Daredevil with She-Hulk gifs just to really hammer the point home. And it's if you know, you know. I almost I forgot to start my reaction at the start of this show with the trailer didn't have any She-Hulk in it, so it sucked. But really, I liked it. We're gonna commit to the bit, and it's gonna be delightful.
Okay, real quick, let's go around. Do you think Tatiana Maslany shows up in Daredevil Born Again? I don't, but I think she's referenced, or maybe on the phone at some point. Jamie, what do you think?
I don't think so. I want it, but I'm not getting my hopes up. But I do think when it comes to one of the movies, I don't think we're gonna see her again. I think in some capacity.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be Daredevil, but I hope so, and I'm gonna talk about it every week.
I would levitate out of my body if he got into trouble, got arrested, and then she was his attorney to get him out of jail. That would be 10 out of 10 amazing. Do I expect it? No. I expect other women characters around Daredevil to pop up, though. I think
that was in there getting it in that shower scene.
Yeah.
That's right.
Jen definitely ain't showing up. That shower would get smashed.
The Defenders verse has a history of that, though. There were way too many instances of that with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. As much as I would love for Jen to appear, I am setting my expectations very reasonably, but I do agree that she'll be referenced heavily in some sort of way. If I'm proven wrong and she shows up, you won't hear the end of it from me, but I'm just still going to try to enjoy the show as much as for what it is and commit to the bit.
Did y'all catch the Luke Cage reference in the Daredevil trailer?
No.
There's an ad for Harlem's Paradise in Times Square. I scanned that Times Square shot, and on the left side of the frame, there is an ad for Harlem's Paradise. It's got a long thing about how, rock and roll and funk and jazz and all that stuff returned to the mothership. Harlem's Paradise was a major, location in the Luke Cage series. So interesting that there's an ad for Harlem's Paradise, which might also be an ad for the return of Luke Cage in the MCU. I think that was pretty sly. I thought that was cool. Yep. All right. Let's just get to some non-Marvel and DC stuff real quick. Movies this weekend. Wolfman is out this weekend. Jamie and I were supposed to go to the premiere for that one. It seems like a lifetime ago. And then the world caught a blaze. So the premiere was canceled. Jamie, have you seen it since? Have you had a chance to see it yet?
I have not. I've only left my house once in the last week, and that was to get my tattoo because it's been booked for months. It's been hard to do things this week. So no, I have not seen it.
I want to see it. It's at a 61% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. I mean, I want to see it. It's one of the first releases of the year. I in my mind was already going, and then that same day we were supposed to go, it was canceled. But that's all right. Nobody's seen it though, right?
Nope.
Okay. In that case, I suggest either go see Wolfman or go see Den of Thieves, because $15 million worth of people isn't that many. So there's a lot of you who haven't seen it, but it was Lionsgate's first number one at the box office since 2023, which I think the last one was the Hunger Games prequel.
Yeah.
So I mean, Den of Thieves was really good. Jamie and I both really enjoyed it.
BD and I need everyone to go see Den of Thieves too, because both of us really want Den of Thieves to become the new Fast and Furious, where I want Den of Thieves 9, where Gerard Butler is planning a heist in space. That is that is how I want these movies to get to. So listen, the movie's not perfect. It's got like 15 endings. It's too long, but like it's both BD and I walked it out of that movie pretty impressed.
The first ending shocked me, pissed me off. Amazing. Great. Loved it. Hated it. It was great. And then it just kept going and going and going and going and going, going. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I was not going to say anything.
Oh, I thought I saw
You
the
got
hand
it
go up.
now. You're on the
I'm about to say, all I know is that O'Shea Jackson knows ball. Would do an RKO on somebody? Yeah, buddy. I would love
oh my God.
nothing more.
Imagine RKO in a movie. That'd be awesome. All right, everybody, buckle up. Buckle up. It is time.
Red alert.
For a Jamie rant in the genre of award season.
I'm sorry that this is coming so late. I really wanted to do this last week because the Golden Globes came out. And let me tell you, there was some good stuff that went down at the Golden Globes. Nikki Glaser was a great host. Love to see that. Demi Moore winning for The Substance was just so beautiful, because not only did she deserve it for this movie, but she deserves it for her career. We got to see Challengers winning Best Score. Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, like that was great, because I feel like we all were talking about how, Challengers, they're forgetting about it. That was cool to see. There was some good stuff that went down. Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. You love to see it. But oh my God, what is with this Amelia Perez love? This movie is not good. And here's the thing about it. The movie is about it's about a trans woman, but basically before she transitions, she's like a criminal underlord of Mexico and an evil person. And now that she's transitioned, she wants to like be better, which sounds cool, right? Like, oh, okay, I can see that. No, it's nonsense. Also, it's a musical, and let me tell you, every single song is terrible. Also, okay, I have not seen a single trans person say they loved this movie. And I can't speak for an entire community, especially when I'm not a part of. But like, if you heard anything from anyone in this community, because I haven't, and you know who else apparently hates it? The entire Mexican community. Apparently, everyone in Mexico hates it too, because this movie was not made by a Mexican director. It was made by a French director who has no knowledge of any of the subjects that he is speaking on by making this movie. And now, again, I can't speak for a community I'm not a part of, but you know what community I am a part of? The theater kid community. And none of these songs are good. They're all bad. Let me tell you, the cast is great. Zoe Saldana is great. Is she the supporting actor of this movie? No, she's kind of the lead of this movie. Category fraud. Selena Gomez, great. Carlos Sofia Gaston is great as the titular Amelia Perez. I think it'll be cool if a trans woman gets an Oscar nomination for the first time, but no one deserves to win anything from this movie. No one does. I feel like I'm being gaslit. And my only thought here is I think because unfortunately it's a really tough time for the trans community out there, and I think Hollywood is doing this thing where they're like, we're going to help this community by promoting this movie, but no one in the community likes it. Everyone liked I Saw the TV Glow. We got the People's Joker out there. And you know what's crazy? Maybe it's not the entire Hollywood. It's just the Hollywood Foreign Press, because the Hollywood Foreign Press loves musicals. They're always simping for musicals. But there's another musical this year called Wicked, and it was amazing. What are you doing? God, if Amelia Perez wins all these Oscars, I swear to God, I'm gonna lose my freaking mind. And that is my rant. That is my rant.
Can I say, Jamie, like, I watched the Globes live, and when like, I haven't seen the movie yet, I've almost been tempted to like hate watch it, and now like hearing you talk about it, I'm like, is that even worth like hate watching? But like once it won its second award, I was like, is this a Crash situation of just like a movie that as people get further and further away from it, they're gonna be like, why was this even in the awards conversation? Like, this was just a very reactive decision that then like everyone is going to regret going forward, and I feel like it sounds like that is what the case is.
Jamie, I think you just got to address this. We have Eric, one person in the comments who said, I like Amelia Perez.
Let me say, Amelia Perez, like I said, the performances are good. I respect a big swing. They took a big swing. And I can't, I didn't sit through it hating it, but like, it's not awards worthy. It's a mess. It's a freaking mess. But it's okay if you liked it. I guess. I don't look.
I haven't seen Amelia Perez. Not on my to watch.
You're gonna hate it. Like, BD, even if I liked it, I'd be like, BD, just stay away.
There was a TikTok that went around that was like, this is like, the songs in Amelia Perez sound like what people who hate musicals think all musicals sound like.
Yep.
And so I knowing your like feelings about musicals and how Wicked just got you in, it would completely pull you out. No.
There's too much to lose. Wicked just changed my life. I'm a musical boy now. I cannot risk it with this. What sounds like a terrible film. I mean, I don't know. It just sounds really bad. But hey, if you like Amelia Perez, that's okay, Eric. Put me on blast. Yeah, it was just for fun. That's okay. Your comment was public anyway. I just put it on the screen.
Respect. Everyone has their own opinions. Yeah. If the movie wasn't in the awards conversation, I'd be like, oh yeah, they tried something. It's making me it's the same thing with Coda. I liked Coda, but like Best Picture, and that makes me dislike it more because like, why? What's happening? I don't know. I feel crazy.
I will shout out TJ here. Tick, Tick, Boom genuinely changed my life. I will say I really enjoyed that movie. I did like that movie quite a bit.
Beautiful movie.
C Black, wrong comment. They moved. You guys are commenting too quickly. Oh my God. C Black said, when do you see Cap 4? There's still no date right now for Cap 4. I think that a lot of things in LA are kind of obviously being thrown off. They're in a bit of a holding pattern. They're trying to figure out when to do it because, I mean, like we talked about earlier, the Wolfman premiere was canceled. I don't think Universal gets their money back for that they spent to put the Wolfman premiere together. And I assume those events probably cost millions of dollars. And maybe not millions, but hundreds of thousands, depending. And that Wolfman was at the Chinese Theater. It was on Hollywood Boulevard. That's permits. That's insurance. That's decorations. That's, transportation. That's food, that's travel, that's so many things that go into those events, not just time. The studios spend money on them. So Cap 4, even if it's just a screening, if it's a premiere, if it's a junket, they're gonna probably, I would have assumed it would have been like a week or 10 days from now, but I haven't heard anything. These things do come up last minute. That's a big reason why I haven't gotten a job at Starbucks, because you got to be available all the time if you want to do this stuff. So if I want to do the Cap 4 junket, if we're lucky enough to get a spot on there for the YouTube channel, for Phase Hero, whatever, I have to be available. I have to be able to hop on a plane, possibly literally the next day, to get to LA. And if I lived in LA, I'd still have to be available to say, oh, it's Tuesday, you need me Wednesday, great, okay, I'm there. So I would assume it's going to be sometime probably about 2 weeks from now, but nothing is out there. That's just me speculating. Jamie,
I just want to say, Disney, Captain America comes out on my birthday week, and if you want to give me a present, invite all 4 of the Phase Hero hosts to the Cap premiere. That's all I want for my birthday this year. So the pressure's on. Let's go.
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic.
Kevin, we know you're listening.
Yeah, Kevin. Mickey, we know you're here. Bob Iger, you're our friend. We've all met.
Yeah.
Bobby. Oh, Bob. All right, y'all. If he is listening, dear God. All right, that's our show. We got one more comment here. Thank you so much for the super chat here. Probably our last super chat of the day. Fly Ninja 808. I saw a post mentioning Brave New World tickets go on sale this Friday. Is that concerning? It's concerning. It seems so late. I don't know. That's about what, 3 weeks? What is today? It's about a month.
Yeah. I said earlier when you were like off camera, like, I don't think it's necessarily concerning because I had expected them to put tickets on sale yesterday, like fully a month out. And so I don't know if it's roughly the same week. I think especially given the extenuating circumstances, like that's a reasonable time to put tickets on sale.
It could also have to do with the holidays. Like maybe they didn't want to make it happen during like December and stuff because people are spending so much money and it's not a good time. I wouldn't read too much into it.
Yeah.
I think a month out is pretty fair. About a month out is pretty fair. Can they switch to NYC? Asks C Black. Marvel does all of its premieres the same way. They always use the El Cap. They always use Hollywood Boulevard. The only exception was that in recent memory was the Marvels, which did Las Vegas, and Deadpool and Wolverine, which did New York, because the only person who can get Marvel to move is Ryan Reynolds. And he was like, I'm not getting on a plane to LA if I don't have to. I'm in New York. You're coming to me. So I think unlikely Cap 4 goes to New York. I'm pretty sure Mackie lives in LA or California. I don't know if maybe he has I don't know. It could, in theory, go to New York. I don't think it will. I think that would be a bad sign. Like, it's just, there's a lot of moving pieces. Who knows? I don't have any insights yet. I have asked. It's all coming together at some point, and we'll have coverage of Cap 4 on the channel on Phase Hero. I'm sure Jenna will have YouTube videos and stuff going on as her channel crossed 4,000. If you didn't watch the Skeleton Crew review because you haven't watched Skeleton Crew, I have to shout that out here too. Jenna crossed 4,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel. We love to see it. So, Jenna, any last words for today's episode of Phase Hero?
Well, piggybacking off of what you just said, it's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media, and go read some comics and go subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is at Go Read Some Comics. I posted a video earlier this week answering listener submitted questions of the questions about superheroes or comics that they've always wanted to know and have been afraid to ask. And the answers range from how do superheroes poop to like very insightful, very interesting discussions about genre and about all of that sort of stuff. So it was a really fun video to put together. Go watch that if you haven't already done so.
Oh, goodness. It's at Some Lake Hornet. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting. Go watch the Skeleton Crew video. Also, this weekend at the theaters, one of those days, SZA and Keke Palmer. Everybody keeps yelling about how they want shorter, smaller budget movies. Well, they made Friday with two gorgeous women. Go watch one of those days.
That's honestly going to get me to buy a ticket.
There you go.
Yeah. Love Keke so much. Thank you all for letting me rant. It's really nice to have a space that I can yell into. That's not just a void. I love you guys so much for letting me do that. Follow me at Jamie Jirak, Instagram, not TikTok. Who cares about that now? Letterboxd, Blue Sky. Follow Love in the Time of Hydra. Like I said, we're covering Agent Carter right now, which is fun because Tony's never seen it. Also, I just remembered that my mom really liked The Flash, so there's another woman for you, Andy. And most importantly, Harley Quinn season 5 premieres tomorrow, so watch it so we can get a season 6 because I don't ever want it to end.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging with us on Phase Hero. Please continue to subscribe to the very YouTube channel you are watching it live on. Continue to leave 5-star reviews on the podcast platform you might be listening in on. We hope you had a good time with us. We had a good time with you. Thank you, everybody, for the super chats. That means a lot. And we'll be back next Wednesday with another episode of Phase Hero. If you're in the Tennessee area, I'm going to whoop Jeremiah Plunkett's ass this week for the NWA, Mid-America Heavyweight Championship. I'm going to do my best to come home with a brand new belt And it's not one to hold my pants up. It's one to be shiny and let you know I'm here to stay. So come on out to the FXC Crush live show at the Gallatin Civic Center in Gallatin, Tennessee. If you want to see BD bring that BD energy, just like you saw at the end of the show. This is just a little taste. Maybe we'll jump off the top rope. Maybe we'll 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter. I'm bringing home a belt. At Brandon Davis BD, if you want to talk more. My finishing move is the end game. And with this outro, we are in the end game now. See you later, everybody.
You